Hey everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about another way to handle outliers called IQR, or in the interquartile range. What is IQR? IQR is a subtraction of the 25th percentile and the 75th percentile of our data set, basically. Or in other words, is that mid-range 50% of our data set. So how we're going to do that, I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to use Python. I'm going to use NumPy libraries. If you would like to have access to the code and the worksheet, and so you can do it yourself as well too, the link is in my description on the GitHub. Go check it out. Like, subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. Actually, we need to pump up the subscribe. So make sure to do that. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, here's the worksheet as you can see on your screen, and I have a completed version of it also on the GitHub, so you will see two different versions on the GitHub page. And as I said, I have the libraries imported here, the NumPy library. I have the sample data set also provided, and this is the function, the IQR function that we're going to use. And then here's how we're going to execute our code. As I said, we need to find the IQR. What is the IQR here? It's the subtraction of the Q3, which is the 75th quartile, and Q1, which is the 25th quartile of our data set. So NumPy library does have a method that we can use to find this 25th and 75th quartile. So let's define them as Q1 and then Q3. So Q1 will be np dot percentile of our data. Data, then we want 25. The next thing next thing I need is Q3, and it's going to be 75. All right. So as I said, IQR is a subtraction of them basically. So Q3 minus Q1. All right. So how are we going to find our thresholds, the upper and lower thresholds? So the lower one is equals to Q1 minus IQR. Hang in there with me, and I'm going to explain in a minute, times our multiplier. So what the multiplier does, it actually increases our IQR. So we are maybe going even underestimating a little bit our Q1 to make sure that it's only going to catch those ridiculous numbers that are within our data set that we call them outliers that do not make sense to be, So usually the multiplier is defined by 1.5. And then the upper one, the upper threshold is going to be upper equals to same thing, Q3, the same plus, right? IQR because we wanted anything to be above 75 percentile. And it's a ridiculous number, times multiplier. Now how are we going to identify those outliers? We're going to find them by creating a list x for x in our data. If x is less than our lower threshold, or our x is bigger than our upper threshold. And if you are not familiar with defining lists in Python, so I can just describe it real quick here. So I'm here saying, give me all the x's that exist within my data. So go through my data, give me all the x's, and then I have here a condition. I want those x's those numbers to be less than my lower or more than the upper threshold. So that's how I'm defining my list here. And then the last thing we need to do, we need to handle our outliers. So we need to remove those outliers from our original data set. So we're going to call it handle data, and it's going to be equal to x. It's going to be for x in data. And once again, we're going to define another condition. If x not in our outlier list. This is something I love about Python. You basically talk in English to it. It says, oh, here I want it to be in it, and then I don't want it to be in the outlier. So I want x's that are in the data but are not in the outliers. Here's basically what I'm saying. Okay, let's make sure everything is correct. Hopefully we don't get any errors. And boom, yeah. And we got our original data. We got 20 and 200 as our outlier. So just to make this clear, I want to print out Q1. And then I want to also print out Q3 IQR, and then we will have lower. So now you can also see what our Q1, Q3, IQR, lower, and upper is. So basically, we found our lower threshold, which is 72. We found our upper threshold, which is 92, and that's basically going for our data, and we use the NumPy method to find those numbers. And then we also detected, found our IQR, and our IQRs happen to be 20, and we found the lower and upper. So anything above 42 is called outlier for our data set, and anything above 122 is also called outlier for our data set. That's why when we run our function, we have 20 and 200 as our outliers, and we have removed them. So when we're performing a data analysis, we do not need to worry about those kind of scenarios. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure to click the like button, subscribe. That means a lot to me. I'm trying to grow my channel, so any subscription matters to me, and I really appreciate you all. And as always, yes, I am.